go out the wrong way. So, well, hey everyone, I am Jim Gast, and I'm with SpliceNet Consulting, and joining us here today on No Law Firm Left Behind. We really appreciate it. I'm a 25-year veteran of law firm technology and security, and I meet a lot of incredible people through my career as a law firm technology person. And one of the most exciting people I've met is this guy right here, David Lefton. David, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
David, I couldn't be more excited to have you. This is just a highlight. We've known each other for a while, and so to kind of have you on my show, sitting in the chair that you're sitting in proverbially, is kind of exciting to me, and for me to see where you've come and go. But you know what? I will never do any of my guests justice by introducing them. So would you just take a moment or two just to tell everybody about yourself?
Well, sure, Jim. And likewise, it's been great to know you over the years. I'm David Lefton. I am a native Cincinnatian. I was born here attended high school here. I went to Seven Hills High School, for those familiar with Seven Hills. And, there I went away for college to Bradley University on a scholarship, and University of Dayton is where I got my law school in, and been practicing in Cincinnati my entire career. Originally, I worked with a firm, became a partner there, known as Arden, Lefton, Lazarus and Marks, and approximately 2007, I had the opportunity to merge my practice in with this firm, Barron, Peck, Benny, and Schlemmer, I've been here since.
Great group of attorneys, by the way.
Great group. Well, thank you. Yeah,
I've
really enjoyed it. I have some great partners, or great attorneys, and very good at what they do.
So your practice area, David, is an interesting one, and it really plays well with the topic today of having a service mindset as an attorney, right? And we talked about this a little bit. If you think about it, your practice area estate planning, the results of that don't always, and there's some cases where it does, benefit your direct client. Instead, it directly benefits most of the time someone else, a loved one, a family member, somebody they care about, so on and so forth. And it's a selfless area. Would you kind of talk about why you picked estate planning when you were younger?
Well, sure, Jim. And I should have mentioned probably in the introduction that I'm married and have two daughters. Okay. And, as a father and a husband, one of the most important things to me is them, if not the most important thing in my life. And, certainly, I view when a client comes in and wants to do estate planning, that it's the most important thing for them as well. And it's, truly an honor and a privilege to, be able to assist families, best benefit their own families. And, that's, part of the privilege of it. The other reason is I truly like the area of estate planning and, practicing in that area. I've met a lot of very interesting people, through that process. And estate planning is, sort of a life process in a lot of respects, and following through with families from the first time they come in to follow up tweaks they want to make to their plan, and then later, and ultimately, unfortunately, everyone passes on, and then dealing with their children and that. So it's truly been I'm blessed to have found an area that I enjoy so much, and that clients trust me to help them with the most important thing in their life with them.
Yeah, I tell you, it is absolutely a service area of practice. Not that others are not. Please don't misunderstand. There's service in every area of law, but this one in particular, it's because it doesn't necessarily benefit that client. It's somebody else. It goes along well. And so let's just talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room. You're the Ohio State Bar Association president. I was so excited to see you run. I was at, remember, I think we saw each other up at the bar in Columbus. You were running, and I was given a CLE, I think, and I found out that day you were running. I was so excited for you. I even did a selfie next to your cutout. Do you remember that?
Right. Yeah. I remember during campaign, they give each of the candidates space to, to put up their poster. And in my case, it was a cutout and things along that line. And you were one of many of colleagues who did that. It was funny.
It was. I mean, how often do you see a fathead, and I don't mean a fathead really kind of like thing. And if you don't know what fatheads are, go look them up. But that was fun. And so, that was really, I mean, this is like kind of like, to me, and I'm not an attorney, so, you're welcome to correct me, but the pinnacle, I mean, you really started though, chairing groups like the ABA GP Solo division, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Early on in my career, I was very fortunate to have, a mentor, a law partner who was very involved in bar association work, first with the Cincinnati Bar, and ultimately he was involved in the Ohio Bar and served on the Board of Governors. And as a young attorney, your more senior attorneys, mentors are extremely valuable. And quite honestly, when we're young, we have a lot of things going on. We're newly married, we're raising a family, and time, there's a lot of conflicts in time. But he was after me, as a member of the bar, but really not engaged in the sense of providing any service or give back to the profession. And he kept after me, and he finally got me to go to a meeting. And and he also was able to get me on the council for the solo small firm section at the Ohio State Bar Association. And sort of a funny story, and one of the reasons I really got engaged so quickly is I had a funeral that morning, and the meeting was in Cleveland, so it was about a 5-hour drive or so. And this was probably in the early 90s, long before GPS and other things. I probably had a triptych or something along that line, or a map, and off I went to Cleveland, which I was really unfamiliar with the downtown area at the time. And I arrived about 20 minutes late to this meeting, and a gentleman who later became a really good friend, was chair of that section, said, "You're late. So you get our boobies prize. You get to chair our economic study." And I'll go, "Okay, I'm game." And so I was like, indoctrinated with, feet under fire. And that study went on to win the ABA National Bar Project of the Year award, which, connected me at that point with the solo small firm division of the ABA. So that sort of was the genesis, the start of getting involved in the Bar Association. So I don't know if anything could go faster. It's sort of like hitting a hole in one on the first hole of golf. You just sort of, some people would quit and not go on, but I truly had a great experience with that, and became really good friends with a lot of the folks at the Ohio Bar.
Yeah. And I'm going to give a shout out to all our bar associations in the greater Cincinnati area. We're blessed with incredible people at the NKBA, CBA, OSBA, Dayton Bar Association, and the list goes on, right? Warren County Bar Association, Butler Bar. I mean, they're great bar associations.
They really are. We were blessed in Ohio. We have, probably one of the best state bars in the country. Yeah. And certainly some of our local bars are excellent as well.
And highly regarded across the country. Highly regarded, all of them. Yeah. Highly regarded. So, it certainly this service mindset that, and by the way, we talked about the service mindset, right? And you really don't think like that, do you? Like you have a service mindset.
Not at all. I mean, I hope you could tell in describing how, the process of winning that award, that it's fun. And that's why I do it. Both I find the work interesting that we do as volunteers, and I also find, the social aspect, getting to know fellow council members or board members, and it really has, I think, rounded out in my career in a way that I couldn't have imagined coming out of law school and as a young lawyer. I joined because it was the thing to do when I graduated law school in the 1980s, to support the bar, to be a member of it. And I still think that's very valuable, and everyone should do that. But to get involved, there's just so many different things you can do. I think there's something for everybody, at the Bar Association.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's really definitely, well, I told you this, right? I don't really think about running as something I have to do, right? I love to run. So therefore I do it, and I enjoy it, and I get a lot out of it. It's got to be the same in serving. Nobody ever thinks to themselves at least I don't think, coming out of law school, oh, I'm going to go be a chair of this, this, do they?
No, not at all. I farthest thing from my mind. When you come out of law school, you're committed to, your first job, and, hopefully making partner, and all those things. And, the Bar Association's there. And certainly you'd like to do it, but it isn't necessarily the priority at that point. And today it's even more complicated. I mean, the cost of school and education these days, and, the debt that a lot of these students have is, wasn't something, that, my generation really had. It wasn't that much to go to, school in those days. But, my goodness, it's fun, whether it's, at the Bar Association, or doing stuff in the community, such as volunteering at the food bank, or Ronald McDonald House, or Cincinnati Arts Association. It's all about fun. And if it's fun, we tend to do things that we like.
Yeah. If you consider it work, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to be an effort that you feel like you have to do. If you're doing it just because, well, look, you said it yourself, you made lifelong friends, right? That's a value in and of itself.
It is. I mean, it's Karen and I, my wife, we've vacationed with some of them. We've see them, certainly their natural runoff. Sometimes you go to an ABA meeting on another part of the country, or, it's nice to extend those meetings with personal time, and they're, they've become a lot of fun, and doing great things for the bar and our profession.
So let's circle back to your professional practice, right? I mean, you wouldn't be doing, well, you'd probably, if it was, I know you'd be doing a lot of other things, even if you weren't an attorney. I guarantee you that. But let's circle back to your practice area for a second. Are there, it's a rewarding career. It's rewarding, area of law. Very, in my opinion, again, service oriented. You don't do it with that mindset. You do it for other reasons. But do you have a couple of examples of how you may have helped somebody in a situation, and how important estate planning is? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll maybe talk about it in a couple aspects. One is the most practical, that is, I think it's important for everyone to have an estate plan. And, for me, it's so important. I love hearing when clients say, when the planning is done, that, oh, this wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought it was or heard it would be. Or after the client passes on, their children saying, boy, my parents were really, prepared. This wasn't as difficult or as hard as I've heard others having to do it. So that to me is, so important, in what I try to accomplish with each of my clients. But, in other respects, sometimes I'm not the attorney who, made the plan. And, so we like anything else in business, you handle the situation as it needs to be. And I've had, probably one of the cases I will always remember is a situation where, a couple went to Portugal on a vacation, one of those type of vacations of a lifetime, traveling Europe. And They were in an auto accident, which the wife, was killed. The husband survived and was injured as well, and came back. He got a hold of me, and my initial work was probate to probate her estate. But there was also a personal injury claim, a wrongful death claim for the spouse, and the accident happened in Portugal. So it through my connections at the ABA, I was able to find this client an attorney in Portugal who spoke great English and was a litigator, handled these types of cases. And I sort of ended up co-counseling with him this case over in Portugal, and largely because a lot of the damages that we had pulled together were here. So for the trial, we went over to, our economist was, an economist at Xavier University. The psychologist who treated my client was from here in Cincinnati. So we went over as a group to try this case and work with the attorney we retained over there. And it was just a fascinating process, and to the extent that Portugal is unlike the United States. They don't have a right to a speedy trial. It took about 3 years for this, case to come to trial. Over there, they merged the criminal and the civil case together, and the prosecutor was responsible for the proving negligence, and our portion of the trial was putting on the damages. But we had a successful outcome, and it's a case I will always remember. So that's part of what I like about estate planning too, is dealing from, it ranges from being practical and helping families with day-to-day matters to situations that are like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you've got an individual that's grieving and in this situation, and because you were able to do what you did, you made their lives a little bit easier. No, you're never going to recover the loved one, right?
Right. No,
but surely that had to have been a burden off of their chest.
I think a tremendous one. They didn't know where to turn to, when I originally met the surviving spouse in that case, and it was complicated. It's not something that even I handle daily. It was something I had that challenged me to think outside the box, to get the help I needed to organize this case, pull a legal team together to put this, successfully try this matter.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We didn't talk about this before, but it just came to my mind, right? And I know you'll be fine with this. And so if you were to recommend any family for these implements, right, of estate planning, where would you start? Where would you suggest?
Well, I think it starts with, contacting, an attorney to, find out the process. And, when a client contacts me, the first thing I do is sort of introduce them to the, concept of estate planning and what a lot of people are trying to do. And I have clients, fill out a fairly simple questionnaire, because most people today want to avoid probate. That's how we make it simple on the back end of thing, either for a surviving spouse or the children or ultimate beneficiaries, whoever they may be. And it's real crucial to have a real good handle on what the assets are. And from there, I can review with clients the options available to avoid probate. And it extends beyond that. I mean, it also probate, estate planning involves planning for life and making sure clients have the appropriate powers of attorney and living wills, if they want those, and things of that nature. So they have a team in place to help them while they're living if they become ill or have an accident.
Yeah. And so, David, I'm going to put this up here right now. I think that, I've always thought you're fantastic. And when my mom passed, I talked to 2 attorneys, right? You and Bill Graff, right? Who's just awesome. I'll say his name. I love him to death. He's a great attorney.
He
That
is.
you were the first two that told me what I needed to hear, and it wasn't the news I wanted to hear because my mom didn't have an estate plan. Right? They drafted the will. They just didn't execute it. And I'll tell you something. Um, you know, I wasn't in a mindset I needed to be in to make good decisions at the time. I lost my mom, right? And so, you know, at least even though she didn't have that, talking to you, okay, that really helped me put my mind straight. Okay, here's what has to happen. Here's what can't happen. And I watched a video of yours last week that said if you don't have an estate plan, if you don't actually have an estate plan, you do, but you don't know it. You want to talk about that?
Sure. I mean, Ohio law provides, absent a will or a trust that governs the distribution of your assets, what in fact will happen with your assets. And believe it or not, it's in all situations, it's not what clients would imagine it would be. And sometimes they're awful surprised to hear, boy, why doesn't the surviving spouse get all the assets? They do in some cases, but not in all cases. And why are stepchildren treated one way? That you can go on with the different scenarios that families today have.
Yeah.
And so the Ohio law, the Ohio Revised Code, does provide a distribution scheme, even if you don't have your own estate plan.
So lack of a decision is still a decision, nevertheless.
It
And
is
it's just somebody else has decided for you what happens for your the ones you care about afterwards and your assets and such. So, well, David, I got to tell everybody, there's David's contact information at the bottom. David, the website, davidlefton.com, it's a good website. You got a lot of good resources there. A lot of good resources.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you'll find a blog there, which you can go to. And if you just want to, you asked earlier, how do you get started? Well, if you wanted to also do some reading and things like that about estate planning, there's some articles there that I think help with that. And you can also contact me through the website. I have a lot of clients who have scheduled appointments through the website. It goes directly into my calendar. So, and I offer, Zoom meetings if it's more convenient up front, to do that. Or certainly we're conveniently located in Oakley as well, with free parking and things along that line. So
nice office too.
Always happy to meet with clients in person.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I definitely follow David on LinkedIn as well. David, I follow you on LinkedIn. I don't hit your blog, your website enough, but I do see on LinkedIn. And I can't remember when it was, but the blog about Prince's estate was really good. I like that one.
Yeah,
I'm one of the guys that actually reads them.
I find it, it's been a while since I've done them, but, because of COVID and other things, but I used to do some, client seminars and things like that. And I found from doing that and from those clients that they love to learn from celebrities. They find it, the mistakes that celebrities make in their estate planning, they learn from, they listen to, because it's of interest to, to them. The fact that Abraham Lincoln didn't have a will, or other people who are so prominent didn't take care of things, blows you away, really.
Isn't that funny?
Because these are people you would think would have it all covered.
So, David, I tell you what, I can't vocalize the appreciation I have for you being on the show today. And I want to also promise I'll get you a copy. We talked before. He hasn't found, or I thought I sent him a copy, but I'm going to make sure he gets a copy of the No Law Firm Left Behind magazine. First edition, by the way. This is the one you want to keep, right? I won't be on all the covers, I promise. I want people to actually read it. So, but no, if you haven't got a copy of No Law Firm Left Behind the magazine, comment in any of the platforms in which you see this video or listen to it, and I'll make sure you get it. David go ahead, Dave, plug it.
And Jim, I need to share with you too, the Ohio Lawyer. That's our trade magazine that featured me when I became president of the association. And, you can find that online too, by Googling, David Lefton, Ohio Bar. should come up as well for folks who may want to read a little bit more about me and my practice.
I'll trade you copies. How's that?
That's great.
Well, listen, David, you're a member of No Law from Left Behind on LinkedIn. It's an exclusive group. We post all these videos and other things in this group. You've got to be a lawyer, a legal professional to join the group, but unfortunately, they don't give us pretty URLs. So you just have to go to LinkedIn and search for No Law from Left Behind. You'll probably find a page and you'll find the group. Just request to be a member of the group. David, also, we post these videos go to audio and they go to podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, just a whole lot of different platforms. The link below right here will get everyone to a landing page that has links to all the podcasts of the various platforms. So I'm excited. Also, next week, we have someone Robert Ziegler from the Northern Kentucky Bar Association. He's the president of the NKBA. He's going to be on the show. So 2 Bar Association presidents back to back. How exciting is that?
No, that's great. And it's wonderful that, you're bringing us on, and thank you for the opportunity to, speak with you today.
Hey, listen, I really appreciate it. Everyone, have a great week. Remember, No Law from Left Behind every Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern time. You can find us on LinkedIn. Take care.